we're learning about applying exponent properties involving products, in other words, multiplication. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Here's some bases, 7 and 7, with exponents 3 and 5. If you multiply these together, you keep the exact same base, so you notice you just bring over the 7. And then 3 plus 5, because when you have exponents, you add the exponents when multiplication occurs. So we have 7 to the 3 plus 5, which means it's 7 to the 8. Here we go, another example. We have 9, 9, and 9 as our bases with exponents. There's not a 1 written here, but technically there should be. 8 and to the second power. So all we have to do is add our exponents, since this is multiplication. 1 plus 8 plus 2, and we should get 9 to the 11th power. Here we go again. Here's a base of negative 5, and there should be an exponent of 1, negative 5 to the 6th. And so we say negative 5 times negative 5. We keep the same exact base, but we take 1 plus 6, and that's going to be 7. So the answer is negative 5 to the 7th. Notice all we're doing is adding these little exponents 1 and 6, and we keep the exact same base. And this only works as long as the bases are the same. Here's part D. We also have bases exactly the same. There's an x and an x. And therefore, all we have to do is add our little exponents, 4 plus 3. So we have x to the 4 plus 3, which equals x to the 7th. Now, remember, this can only be used if the bases are exactly the same. And then we just add our exponents when we multiply. Here we go. I would like you guys to pause your video and try these 4 problems on your own. I will check these problems when you guys get back to class. Let's try another example. Here's example 2. Now notice the difference here. We have 2 to the 5th power, and then we have a set of parentheses. What does that mean? If we take 2 to the 5th power and then take it to the 3rd power, that's the same thing as writing like this. 2 to the 5th, let me see if I can get my pen to work better, times 2 to the 5th times 2 to the 5th. That means we have 5 plus 5 plus 5, 15. Now the shortcut is to just take, if you have a parenthesis, take 3 times 5, and you'll get 15. So if you have a set of parentheses that's telling you to basically take the entire, whatever's inside the parentheses, to that power. Let's go to letter B. If you take negative 6 to the 2nd power 5 times, that means you have 5 times 2 is 10, so you have negative 6 to the 10th power. Part C, x to the 2nd 4 times. So we have 4 times 2 is 8, and so we get x to the 8th. Another set of parentheses here, we have y plus 2 to the 6th power, and take this entire expression times to the 2nd power. So we have y to the 6th, y plus 2 to the 6th power, times 2. So we take 2 times 6 and we get 12. Notice every single one of these problems, let me get my eraser. When it has a parenthesis or a bracket, we just take 3 times 5 and put it to the 15th power, 4 times 2 to the 8th power, 5 times 2 to the 10th power, and 2 times 6 to the 12th power. Now it's your turn to try. Pause your video and try these 4 questions. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. Okay, this should have been 4 to the 14th power. Number 6 is negative 2 to the 20th power. Number 7, n to the 18th power. And n plus 1 to the 20th power, making sure you keep the parentheses so the whole thing gets raised to the 20th power. All right, let's take a look at the next type of question you might be asked. Look what happens here. We have parentheses, and we have to the 8th power. That means each one of these terms has to be raised to the 8th power. So that's why we have 24 to the 8th and 13 to the 8th written out right here. And that's your answer. You can't combine these 2 bases. They're two different bases. Now we have 9xy to the 2nd power. So we have to take each one of the terms inside to the 2nd power. So that's why they split these up, trying to emphasize how you have to the 2nd power for each one. So 9 to the 2nd power written there, x to the 2nd power written there, y to the 2nd power written there. Now the number 9 to the second power means 9 times 9. So we should actually solve that. 9 times 9 is 81. So that's why you see 81 here in your final answer. And x squared, y squared just brought over. Let's try C. If you take negative 4 to the z, or I'm sorry, negative 4z to the second power, each term, separate them, has to be brought to the second power. So negative 4 to the second power and z to the second power. Since the number can be actually multiplied, you should do it. So negative 4 times negative 4 gets you this positive 16. Z to the second power, just bringing it over. Let's try D, or do D. This says takes this entire term 4z to the second power. Leave the negative sign out in front. It's not inside the parentheses, so leave it there. So we bring this over and we have negative. We have 4 to the second power inside and z to the second power. Now 4 to the second power, 4 times 4 is 16. Times this negative out front gets you a negative 16. And then we have z to the second power just brought right over. Time for you guys to try some. Oops, I'm sorry. We have one more complicated question here. Look at this. Looks like alphabet soup. But that's okay. It's not that hard actually. This entire term has to be brought to the second power. So we take 2 to the second power, x to the third to the second power, and x to the fourth. And we put them all together. Let's take a look at that. 2 to the second power. Remember, 2 to the second power. That's a 4. X to the third. Bring that to the second power. Remember, if you have a parenthesis, you should multiply. So 2 times 3 is 6. So that's why I have x to the 6. And then we have times x to the fourth because that just remains. It's not raised to any other power, so we leave it. Now, look at this. These two bases are the same. They're both x's. Since they're both x's, we're going to go ahead and just add our exponents and put it all as one term. So we have x to the 10th power because 6 plus 4 is 10. That is your final answer for that one. All right. I would like you guys to pause your video and try each one of these questions. All right, on this one, it should have been 42 to the second power and 12 to the second power. When you actually do that, there you go. And then we have negative 3 to the second power. Negative 3 times negative 3 is 9, so we have 9n to the second power. 9 to the fourth power, wow. You have to do 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. What do we get? 6,561 for that. N to the third to the fourth power. 4 times 3 is 12. And then 4 times an invisible 1 right there on top of the n is n to the fourth power. This one's a little bit more complicated. The 4 is only on this part of the question. It's not on this 5, so leave that 5 alone. Let's deal with our exponents first. Remember PEMDAS, exponents must be dealt with after parentheses. So we're going to take 5 to the fourth power and x to the second to the fourth power. And when you do 5 to the fourth power, 5 times 5 is 25, times another 5 is 125, times another 5 is 625. Then we have to multiply it by this 5 that's outside. And so we should get 3,125, and then 4 times 2 gets you x to the 8th. See how we have just x, 2 times 4, because the parentheses there. All right. Let's see. I believe that's it for tonight. Have a fantastic evening, and I will see you tomorrow.